So, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome top 1% attorney, narcissist, negotiation expert, best-selling author, and media personality, Rebecca Zung. So, welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So, Rebecca, I'd firstly like to congratulate you on all your achievements. Can you please share with us more about your background and how your career started?
Sure. I actually started my career in my early 30s. I had been a teacher prior, but I ended up as a single mom. I had 3 kids, and so I went back to law school in my late 20s and ended up, I thought I was going to do something in business law or transactional business or something like that. But I met a woman when I was still in my 3rd year of law school who was also half Chinese as I am. And we had a lot in common. And she had one of the top family law practices in Florida at the time. And she asked me to come and work for her. I really had not thought that I wanted to be a divorce lawyer. It wasn't anything that crossed my mind at all. But it just worked out that way. And, she convinced me. She said her cases were so large that it was like dissolution of businesses, which in some ways was true, but the whole emotional piece of it was a whole other part of it.
Yes.
But anyway, that's how I ended up starting and just being in family law. And that was 1999, so 21 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, you are top 1% of attorneys in the nation and recognized by the U.S. News and World Report as the best lawyer in America, as a legal elite by Trend Magazine, which is an incredible achievement and recognition. Can you share with us more about this, and what do you believe gave you the advantage, and what makes you so unique in your specialty as a divorce attorney?
Well, I in my practice, which my practice is very, very limited now, as I spend most of my time actually doing my YouTube stuff, doing webinars, and I sell programs for negotiating with a narcissist, and I do have also some breaking free divorce master classes and things like that. So I really spend the bulk of my time on that. But in my practice, I think what really differentiated me and continues to differentiate me is the fact that I actually, have a very good idea of the law and how to present cases, but also care about my clients and it's always been important to me to have a tremendous amount of integrity with my cases. And even in my work on the internet and the things that I'm doing on YouTube, I've always felt, and I've always said, and this is a mantra I say to myself all day long, every day, which is do the right thing for the clients and the universe will take care of me.
Yes.
So I've never thought, oh, let me try to drag this case out because I can get more business or, get more fees that way. I've always felt like if the right thing for this client is to settle this case now, let's get that done. And I will have other clients, other people will come to me. It will continue to happen. So, and it has always worked for me that way. I've been very fortunate.
No, that's amazing. So what would you say some of your biggest career lessons and learnings have been?
Oh, biggest career lessons and learnings. Not to take things personally, I think is really, really important. A long time ago, I read the book, The 4 Agreements, and it's 4 agreements that you keep with yourself for those people who haven't read it. And it's like a short little book for those people who haven't read it. It's like an afternoon kind of a thing that you can just read it in. And, especially in family law, a lot of people will start attacking the lawyer, not just clients, but opposing counsel or opposing clients, whatever. It's a very combative field.
Yes.
And learning how to just be strong and not take things personally, I think was really a good lesson for me early on. So
Amazing. So your journey has not always been easy. And as you mentioned earlier, you were married quite young, at 19, for the first time, and you had 3 children by the age of 23, and became divorced. So as a single mom of 3 children who decided to go back to law school, can you share with us more about this? And what was the driving factor that made you decide you wanted to go back to law school?
I can sum that up easily in one word: survival.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it was just about what's the quickest way that I can put food on my kids' table and keep a roof over our heads.
Yes.
And I, it's funny because I ended up on law review and all of these things, even in law school. But I really feel like the driver was just, I don't want to have to pay back my student loans on my teacher's salary. I mean, I was a teacher at the time making like $26,000 a year.
Yes.
And I thought, I'm still going to have to pay these loans back, even if I don't finish school. So I need to make sure that I do well here, and well enough that I can, hopefully get a good job eventually, and pay off these student loans and also make more money for my kids. I mean,
Yes.
I wish I could say that it was like I had some huge passion at the time for helping people. I mean, honestly, it was survival. That was the only thing I was thinking of at that moment.
Yes, of
Time.
course. And especially when you're responsible for 3 other lives, like you
Yeah.
said, it becomes a survival mechanism for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I find so incredible about you and your story is that you went from being a college dropout and a single mom to becoming one of the most powerful lawyers in the country. So what and when was the turning point for you, and how did you balance this with being a single mom of 3 children in such a highly competitive and high-pressured career path?
Well, I did meet my husband in law school. So I did, I got married right after law school again, and I have a 4th child with my husband. So I wasn't a single mom throughout my career, although I still am sort of in a way. I mean, their dad is, still in the picture of my first 3 kids, but
Yes.
I was the one who was making more money and doing things, and it was just not easy. But I think the turning point, it's going to be kind of a crazy thing. I started my own firm a while back now, probably 10, 12 years ago. And I remember, this is going to be just kind of a funny thing for people, but I remember I was still an employee for a while, at firms. And when you're an employee as a lawyer, you don't make much money. I mean, obviously you make more than, a teacher or whatever, but I wasn't making like enough to like pay off my student loans or really make a difference. And you don't become a powerful lawyer as somebody else's associate. I knew I had to have my own firm.
Yes.
And but part of it was also, I remember my daughter was going to summer camp one particular year. She was little, and it was like always, every time summer would roll around and we'd have to like come up with the money to pay for summer camp, it was like this huge drag of like, where am I going to get the money? And I'm going to have to like jockey things around in order to try to afford this. And I remember like writing that check going, I am so sick of this. I am so sick of not having enough money to pay her for summer camp. That's it. I'm done. I'm making money. That's how this is going. And that shift in my mindset caused me to start my own firm. And I set goals for myself for my firm, which were really, really high. Even the first year out in my firm, I set a high goal for myself for what I wanted the revenue to be. And, but continue to have like the integrity. It was like, I had decided I'm never going to overbill. I'm always going to do the right thing for the client. And I would just pray every morning and just say, universe, I'm trusting that you're going to take care of me and I'm going to do the right thing. And it worked out. So, even my first year out in my law firm, the goal that I had set for myself, I exceeded by like 20%. So,
Geez, that's incredible. Wow.
yeah.
Amazing. But I
Yeah.
think it's also, Rebecca, to be honest with you, it's also a level of willpower and real drive and digging deep to get that motivation to become the best, because that doesn't just happen by chance. I mean,
Yeah, I believe that you set an intention and the universe rises up to meet you.
very true. So you were recognized by your peers in the judiciary as ABC Peerment rated in family laws, so it's the highest possible rating for an attorney by Martindale Hubble, which is an incredible and such an honor. So can you share with us more about this?
Yeah, so to be AV rated and with Martindale Hubble, it means that you have the highest standards and not just legal knowledge, but also ethical knowledge and ethical abilities and how you practice and how you get AV rated. You have to be practicing law for at least 10 years. And then you have to have other AV rated lawyers rate you, and they have to be lawyers who have interacted with you in some way, like they've been opposing counsel, they've seen you actually practice, and you have to have 18 to 25 of those ratings. Wow. And it's not an easy thing to do because most opposing counsel, especially in family law, they don't necessarily like you. And then
is it kind of politicized as well a bit? Like, is there a lot of politics involved in it?
No, they're pretty. It's a neutral rating service that you don't pay to get rated. It's not a pay to play kind of a thing. They're the oldest rating service in the country, or they do extend into other countries, but I'm not exactly sure which ones. And I think that they started in like the late 1800s or something like that, rating lawyers. And then, even the judges that you go in front of, they can rate you, and that's how you get the judicial rating as well. And so it's a really, really a big honor. The same thing with the U.S. News one too.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch out there that are just like kind of fake ones that, you pay them to have whatever distinction they want to call it. Yes. But it's not real, the ones that are real are like Martindale Hubble, the Best Lawyers in America by U.S. News, like Trend Magazine, things like that. Those ones you don't pay to play, you just get it.
You earn it. Yeah. It's just so much better.
Yeah.
So where and when did your passion for family law come from, and was this something that came from your own experience?
Well, I have a passion for helping people, and that's why I also created the program for negotiating with narcissists, because I realized that it's just a very tough area of the law, and I've been through a divorce myself.
Yes.
And there's an old expression out there among lawyers that say the criminal law attorneys see bad people at their best and family law attorneys see good people at their worst.
Yes.
And, you know, it's really, other than death, one of the most traumatic experiences that people will ever have to live through. And I always say that there's a divorce paradox. And that paradox is that during the worst, most traumatic time of your life, you have to make the most critical decisions of your life about your money and your home and your children and all the things that mean the most to you. Because if you end up signing an agreement, you have to live by that forever. And so it's like, oh my God, I can't even think straight. I can't even eat. And now I have to make these decisions. And it's almost like guerrilla warfare or something, you know?
Yeah, very. And it's also very emotive as well, an emotional experience.
Emotional.
It's almost because some people that I've never been married, but some people I know that have been through that or been through divorce have said it's almost like death, you know, because you're mourning the loss of a life you once had. So
it's definitely true, except that in some ways I've always said that I think divorce in some ways is worse than death, because in death there's a dignity to it, you know.
Yes, true.
And there's and people rally around people whose spouse has died. They bring them food, you know, they take them out to dinner, they send flowers. There's a lot of support there. That never happens when you go through a divorce. I mean, people actually try to stay away from you if you're going through a divorce because they don't want to get in the middle. And so
it becomes very sides as well, especially if you've got mutual friends. And then, you know, I know my brother went through divorce as well, and then friends, you know, split and, you know, support one side, and yeah, it can become quite ugly.
Yeah, I mean, they end up choosing sides, or they don't want to choose sides at all, and so they just don't talk to either person. And so people can end up feeling very isolated, very alone. You know, so, and especially if they're dealing with a narcissist, because the narcissist will go out and start up with the smear campaigns and
big time.
Yeah, and they, you know, trying to line up their flying monkeys and triangulation, and they just go on this huge war path. So it's really, really a difficult path.
Very. So that's where I'm going to lead into the part about narcissism, because this is something obviously you are a specialist at. So I want to talk about how you became an expert narcissist negotiator, and how did this come about? Can you give us some insight and background into how you got into such a challenging niche area?
It just sort of evolved because, you know, in my practice, I noticed that people, you know, for years, you know, the husband would always say his wife was crazy, and the wife would always say that the husband is controlling.
Yes.
And so for years it was like, my wife is crazy, my husband is controlling, and, you know, and we would just hear that over and over again. And in the last several years, it's now become everybody is a narcissist. And that's, so I just really started looking into that and learning about narcissism to try to help my clients and help my practice. And then I also realized that I was also a victim of narcissists. I had two particular people in my life who had targeted me, and I became, you know, a victim of their narcissism. One was a family member, and one was somebody that I had worked with in business. Yes. And it wasn't even a romantic partner, which, you know, I'm sure is like a million times worse. Yeah, I mean, but it was also very horrible, and something that I was like kind of obsessing about, and the trauma, and, you know, talking to my husband, and I knew something was wrong. And I talked to all my friends about, you know, and I started reading books about narcissism, and that's when I started realizing, oh my God, I've been a target and victim of narcissists
Yes.
myself, who, you know, I have all these accolades as an attorney. I have a very successful practice, and yet, you know, I also have this, it's happened to me.
Mm,
And so I wanted people to understand that it can happen to anyone,
yeah.
because they're really good. They're master manipulators. They're
Big time.
excellent at, you know, coming out and trying to get as much narcissistic supply as they can from anyone that they can get it from.
Yeah.
And so I decided to start doing YouTube videos on it, and my channel just blew up. And I decided to create a program around narcissism and how to negotiate with narcissists because of that.
Mm.
And that's how it all happened. I mean, it really was that I noticed that there was a need for it, and then I also had to experience it in my own life.
Wow, it's pretty heavy going. So narcissism obviously is massive and far more evident and prevalent than ever. So can you share with our audience what a narcissist is and the challenges one has when negotiating with a narcissist?
Sure. So some people seem to think like as soon as somebody says anything good about themselves, or anything that appears to be, you know, bragging or whatever, then, obviously that person is a narcissist. Well, that's not the case.
No,
I mean,
there's a big difference.
a huge difference. And so, I mean, all human beings want to feel seen, heard, and know that we matter.
Yes.
And that's why I called my book Negotiate Like You Matter. And, you know, because we all have that as human beings, of course. So there's nothing wrong with wanting that. It's just that it's on a continuum. And when you get to the end of the continuum, where it's a pathological thing that all you care about is the external, you have no sense of internal value, you have no sense of self.
No.
And so you have to get all of your value from the external. That's where it gets into narcissism. And then coupled with, and this is really important that people understand this, it's coupled with, they have no sense of care, compassion, or empathy for other people.
100%.
Zero.
Yeah, true.
They cannot ever feel anything for anyone other than themselves, because they feel if they give anything to anyone else that it's taking from them. That they're just so much of a shell of themselves that they cannot give to anyone else.
Yeah, very true. So can you share with the audience more about the warning signs of narcissism? So many women I know who are incredibly smart and high-powered individuals, many empathic individuals end up being targeted by narcissistic sociopaths, men or leaving an aftermath of damage in their relationships. This has not only happened on a personal level, but in the professional business world, as you've touched on previously. So what do you know to be true, and what can you tell us of the tools that you could use, not only to negotiate, but how to manage and navigate through this pretty dramatic minefield, because they do leave serious amounts of damage.
So narcissistic relationships, well, first of all, let me just say, let me give a little short definition of a narcissistic supply, because that's the only thing that drives a narcissist. It's their food, it's their oxygen, it's their lifeblood.
Yes.
So narcissistic supply is anything that feeds a narcissist's ego, anything. And it's a black hole, it's endless. They need, you know, of course, the good things that we all enjoy, which is like, you know, compliments and respect and money and prestige and all of those things. But the other side of how they get narcissistic supply, what I call the dark underbelly of narcissistic supply, is through devaluing people,
Yes.
debasing people, intimidation tactics, flying monkeys, like lining up people against the people, making you think that you're crazy, gaslighting, which is, you know, trying to make you think that you're crazy. So all of those things are also to feed their ego and to make them feel superior, and you know, they feel very entitled
Yes.
to that. And so everything that they do is driven around getting that narcissistic supply. So the narcissistic relationship has really three phases to it, but they are all, it's not linear exactly, but it's love bombing, devaluing, and discarding.
Mm.
And so it always starts off with the love bomb, and narcissists are really, really great at making themselves seem perfect to you. So they're really masters at reading people and figuring out, how can I appear to be the most perfect person to this person that I'm targeting? And so they come on super strong. I love yous come flying out like 2 days after they meet
Like
you.
emojis.
Yeah. You know, there's an old joke that says no one falls in love faster than a narcissist who needs a place to live.
Yes.
So like, let's move in right away. I want to meet your family immediately. They're right into your space right away. Very overwhelming, because they want you to be committed and into their web of control before you have a chance to figure out what's really going on.
Yes.
And so then the devaluing starts. And it's little things sometimes, or sometimes it's bigger things, but you know, it's just like, you know, here we are. I've already said that you're the most beautiful woman I've ever met, but then something little will happen, like, you know, maybe you shouldn't eat that. You're starting to look a little thick in the middle, or something like that, and you're like, what? Wait a minute, where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, or you know, you notice that the person is on their cell phone, but they won't let you see it, and it's like, oh, but are you cheating on me? Oh no, you're crazy. I was just talking to this person as a friend. You know, like the gaslighting kind of starts. But then what happens with a narcissist is that the love bombing and the devaluing kind of start being interchanged all the time. So it's love bomb, devalue, and that's how the trauma bond is created.
Okay.
And because your brain starts to actually get addicted to, when is that love bombing coming? When is it? I want that. I need that back.
Yeah.
And they're really good at going back and forth, and they use that love bombing as a means of manipulating. So, you know, let's say, I don't know, they've broken tons of promises to you. They said that they're gonna, you know, come home on time every day or whatever, and then they never do. And you start questioning things, and then, you know, or they did something really terrible to you, and the next thing you know, you got flowers delivered, you know, because they just want you to forget about it.
Yeah.
So, and then the discard phase can happen either, you know, by you or by them. But you know, during the discard phase is when you see the birth of the smear campaign, and all these things start to happen. Then, and you know, and as a lawyer, that's where I see people using the court system as their weapon, and really abusing people through the court system.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. So, why do you believe people are or become narcissists, and what can these types of characters be helped, or can these types of characters be helped through therapy?
They cannot be rehabilitated through therapy. The ones that maybe don't have as high a degree of narcissism, as I said, it's a continuum. It comes from being wounded as children. They're traumatized in some way as children, or something happened in their childhood where they came to the conclusion that they had no value. But I always caution people, because I know that the people who are most attracted to a symbiotic relationship with narcissists is the empaths. So I always feel like as soon as I say that, I have to deliver a message to the empaths out there. No, you can't save them. No, you can't love them back to health. No,
No.
find somebody who's healthy,
Yes.
because they cannot be rehabilitated. Whatever that happened to that child, that happened a long time ago. That child is gone. It's been replaced by an adult who has no ability to feel anything for other people.
Except themselves.
Except themselves. They can be taught how to the motions if they want to. Like if they agree to go to some sort of therapy, they can be taught what it looks like to have care or empathy for a person. If I actually care about a person, when that person is sick, I am supposed to text them during the day or call them when I'm at work to check in on them to see how they're doing. That's what a caring person would do.
Yes.
Like they can be taught that, but they don't actually care how you feel or that you're sick.
No.
You see what I'm saying? There's a huge difference.
Absolutely. So that leads me to a lighter side of the question, or not lighter, but just a different direction. What is some of your career highlights been?
Career highlights?
Yes.
Oh gosh. I mean, being on some national television shows like Extra, Dr. Drew, NPR, that's been really special to be able to do that. Having my book, the foreword was written by the great Robert Shapiro. I had just asked him for a testimonial, and he called me and offered to write the foreword. That was a huge moment for me. Certainly winning certain cases that, where I really felt like I made a difference in children's lives. There's certain people that I keep in touch with that, I got custody for them, or I won relocation for them. And I know that child's life has been improved tremendously because of the work that I did. Obviously, that makes me feel really good.
Yes.
Winning best lawyer in America, honestly, or not winning, but being honored and recognized by that, and becoming an AV rated lawyer. I mean, it just achieving these things that I actually set out to achieve has been really great. But mostly, I would say the biggest highlight and is the fact that my YouTube channel is exploding, because I know the feedback that I'm getting. I know how many lives I'm touching and how many people email me on a daily basis to tell me that I've actually saved their lives or changed their lives. And so the fact that I get to use my knowledge for people literally on every continent on this planet and in every country. I mean, I was thinking I should start a map of where I'm.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, where people who have bought my program from everywhere, including, where you are in the UK, lots of people there, and where you're from in South Africa, lots of people have bought my program there. But even non-English speaking countries, I just got an email from somebody from Lebanon.
Wow.
And then and a couple of days before that, I had gotten an email from a woman in Iran.
See, that's amazing.
Yeah, and the woman in Iran said that a group of women are watching my videos in secret, and they are actually, she translates my videos for them.
Wow.
Um, so I know that I'm making a huge impact, and I love the fact that the universe is using me as a vehicle to help people.
Absolutely. And it's such an irrelevant and important, especially around the narcissistic or narcissism. You speak to so many people, and I've certainly spoken to many who have been on the receiving ends of these types of individuals, and it's pretty crazy how many people have been affected by it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
so you are incredibly talented and also an author of a number of best-selling books. Was writing books something you always wanted to do, and was this an organic process for you, or something that came much later in your career?
So I wrote my first book in 2013. So I had been in the family law field for about 14 years at that point. It really just kind of came out of working with um, clients. That particular book, I just started like kind of taking notes of the things that I was saying over and over again to people. And I just thought, there wasn't a book out there at the time, and maybe there still isn't, I don't know, where it was a blend of, here's what's going on with you emotionally, here's how to get help with that, here's what's actually happening procedurally and throughout the case, and I help you with that, and then here's how to free yourself spiritually. So that was the book in 2013. And then the other one came out last year in 2019, which is Negotiate Like You Matter. And that one, it was really because I was speaking on negotiation to people constantly. I had been asked, I was the keynote speaker for the American Bar Association here. And I just thought, well, I'm speaking on negotiation so much.
Mm,
Let me write a book about it. And then my plan was originally to create a program just generally on negotiation.
mm.
But when I realized that I actually was dealing with narcissists myself, it really hit home to me that I needed to develop programs on dealing with high conflict personalities and narcissists.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's amazing how it all just sort of, like you say, the universe and everything just kind of led you to that. So it's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, you're also a media personality, having featured in Forbes, Good Day New York, CBS, Huffington Post, to name a few. Can you share with us more about this? And did being featured and have these interviews open other doors, or other career opportunities for you?
Yeah, I mean, it just helps to spread the message. I
Yes,
mean, so, being on Extra was probably because I've been on Extra a few times to talk about high profile divorces.
yes,
And that, I mean, that show is, I think, all over the world. So it really just helps to spread the message. On what it is that I'm doing and help people. So it's great. Of course, it's great for the ego, right? But
yes.
it's also great because more people get the message and will be helped on how to deal with narcissists and how to. I'm the only lawyer out there right now that's talking about this and how to actually real step-by-step guidance on how to escape these relationships. I mean, now I'm helping people with business relationships. I get inquiries every day on people who are dealing with a narcissistic business partner.
Mm,
And so, I mean, it's everywhere. It's rampant, and I'm the only one. Yeah, sure, it's great to hear from a psychologist or somebody who says,
no, but they can't fix it. And that's even, I've had my own experience, which I'll share with you another time. But that's always the thing. People say, oh, go for therapy. But it's not even something you want to just keep rehashing and talking about.
no, you need real step-by-step guidance on how do I get the hell out of this relationship? And that's what I teach.
Yes. Real practical tools. That's
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So that leads me to the final question. What are the 3 key pieces of advice you would give to others looking to pursue a similar career? And how would you like to be remembered, or what legacy would you like to leave?
Oh, a similar career. Let's see. I mean, first of all, you have to achieve a certain level in your career of mastery.
Yes.
So, I couldn't be where I am today if I had started this when I was a 1 or 2 year lawyer.
No.
You have to achieve a certain amount of mastery in knowledge in your career. And then once you have that and you have that credibility factor, for me, writing the first book was really a game changer, because that was the tool that allowed me to be featured on various shows, and go on different programs and things. And whenever people introduce me, of course, they always mention my books. And so that was another piece of it. So, I mean, I think, obviously having the right marketing and PR is important,
Yes.
but really staying true to yourself, staying true to your message, understanding what it is, your intention is behind it. Because if your intention is just to get attention for yourself, people will see through that, and your message will not be authentic. So understanding that if you want to have a bigger voice, that your intention really needs to be about how your voice is going to be helping others.
Yes, of course.
And having your intention be that, and not just, I want the spotlight on myself, or I want to make money. It has to be about, how am I going to help people with this bigger voice?
Absolutely. And what legacy would you like to leave? Or how would you like to be remembered?
Well, obviously, I mean, from a very personal point of view, I would love to be remembered as being a good mom.
Yes.
I love my children, and, that would be probably the most personal one. On a greater level, I would say being, that I helped people, that I made a difference in their lives, that I made a difference in the world. Maybe I helped to shift the dynamic of the world a little bit by giving people a chance at more positive energy and a more positive life.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, for your time. It's been such an honor to have you on the show. And if people would like to connect with you, what are the best platforms to do so?
Well, my website is rebeccazung.com. Yes. I also have a free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet that people can download. It's at winmynegotiation.com. You just go to winmynegotiation.com and you can get that free worksheet. But my website also has everything about me, and it's REBECCAZUNG, RebeccaZung.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much, and
hopefully. Oh, and I should say, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just go to type my name into YouTube. You'll find me.
Absolutely. And we'll share it on the podcast as well.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, and hopefully we can have you back in the future to see where you are in your journey.
Would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.